Well, today we're going to be talking about 2020 opportunity, Louisiana young people and the NAACP. What you see right here is a picture of a coalition, the Shreveport Cattle Young People's Get Out the Vote Coalition, that was responsible for some of the efforts that, some of the Get Out the Vote efforts in Shreveport and in Cattle Parish. There are 19 people that are here, but in these 19 people, 10 organizations and businesses are represented. So in this picture, what you see are 19 young people, young professionals, but only 2 of them are members of the NAACP. So young professionals are joining the NAACP, but they are starting their own organizations, their own coalitions, and movements independent of the NAACP. So the question that I pose to all the chapters here is the NAACP missing out on opportunities to connect with young professionals? I would say yes. 2, how can the NAACP reach and involve young people? And 3, what do young people need from the NAACP? So, Cattle Parish broke early voting records, so did DeSoto Parish. One of the great things that we've seen from when young people mobilize is that we not only have the face-to-face, but we also have the social media. We have that social media presence, so when we put the call out, people answer. One of the issues, like I said, that when the people who want to join the meeting, that call got put out on social media, but because of the ways that the rules were structured, we're not allowed to participate in the meeting. Another thing about the power of Shreveport's young professionals is that within 30 days we were able to raise over $20,000 to help elect John Bell Edwards. So we have real power, we have real influence in the city, but unfortunately, these people are not members of the NAACP, and that's a missed opportunity to really make the NAACP a real powerful and real relevant organization. Next slide. Next slide. So the young professionals we're experienced campaigners, marketers, fundraisers, and organizers. One of the things that we see is that we're young freedom fighters, and we want our chance to be able to earn our stripes, just like everybody in this room has earned their stripes. And we want to take risks because now we're moving in a new battlefield. That's not to say that the experience of our generals is discarded. What we're saying is that the battlefield looks a lot differently than it did during the Civil Rights Movement. And we're still in the Civil Rights Movement, but we have to understand that the new Civil Rights Movement is now wealth creation, debt reduction, and criminal expungement. If it's anything that will keep you from living out your future and living out your potential, it's either because you don't have enough money, you're in too much debt, or you have a criminal record, right? So another thing that our generation is focusing on is education. Myself, I'm a public defender for juveniles. I hate that word, I like using youth. But I'm a youth public defender, so youth and juvenile justice and environmental justice. And what we also have to do is, we have been talking about voting for the last 60 years. We have to educate and move our people past voting rights. That can't be the mobilizing issue. That says to us that we have political immaturity. If we're trying to get people just to go out and vote, let alone know what their interests are so that they can effectively advocate for their interests. So we really have to do some innovative and some radical things to really get our people past that point. Radical. Next one, please. So, what is my plan for that? What do I present to the NAACP? It's called Operation Walking Papers. Our potential membership doesn't know how voting works, doesn't believe that voting works. Now I say this again, potential membership. Yes. Because every person that we run into is what? A potential member, right? And every person that we run into is somebody that can use the NAACP's help. Yes. Right? Yes. So, we the NAACP are still learning how to connect with our potential membership and get them informed, educated, and involved in our organization and the communities. The NAACP is 110 years old, and we must connect the elders' wisdom and experience with the youth's energy and innovation. We can achieve that using already And by resources and tools, I'm talking not just finances, I'm talking about people, right? Coupled with more active members and consistent training and deliberate grooming. So it can't be, oh, well, you know what? I see this young guy that's over here. I'm going to have him over in the corner for the next 5 years. Right? That's how your organization dies, and that's how young people disengage totally from the NAACP. When I look around the room, there's some young faces in here, but we need more young people involved, because without young people, our organization dies and is no longer relevant. So, Operation Walking Papers, every member a voter, every voter a member. Right? Yeah. Every member a voter, and every voter a member, once again, because the NAACP, every time that we walk around somebody or interact with somebody, that is a what? Potential member, right? So how do we execute Operation Walking Papers? Or what is Operation Walking Papers about? Two things: census and mapping, and also member outreach and engagement. If I have a weapon systems background. I spent 5 years with the United States Navy as a weapon systems engineer. So my background is in warfare. So before I can ever engage a target, I have to detect it. After I detect my target, I have to track it. After I track my target, I engage it. So how do we detect the people that are potential members? We have a census going on. Yes. Why should we be dependent on anybody else's information when every person that we come in contact with is what? A potential member. So robust and versatile member data and voter data. Who is our membership? Where is our membership, and where are our potential members? How do we connect with our membership? Is it on social media? Is it face-to-face? Is it through mail? Is it through radio? Is it through television? What are our members' interests, and what are the issues that we can mobilize them on? How in touch are we with the strifes and problems of our community? It's one thing for us to understand. It's one thing for us to say, this is what my community needs, but what is the community actually saying? What are the top 3 things that they would like to fix? And how can the NAACP utilize its resources to tackle those problems? So that's the detection part. Tracking, voter contact, and political education. You got to give people something, right? That contact, that face-to-face contact, but also that political and civics education. Not what the Constitution is. I also taught political science at Southern University. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure was that my students knew how to interact with their government. Not just know how their government is structured, but how to interact with their government. So now, if you have members who have issues with SWEPCO, when I wasn't making a lot of money, SWEPCO turned my lights off. I didn't know that SWEPCO had to turn my lights on within 24 hours of me paying my bill. Guess what? 48 hours later, my lights are still off. Well, me being a lawyer and having that kind of training, I know who to go to. I know to go to the Public Utilities Commission and complain. But most of our potential membership and some of our members don't know that. Well, I end up getting a refund and a credit on my account. How valuable is that to our members? How valuable is that to anyone that lives within our city? So we now have to start looking at the NAACP for what it is, and that is the oldest civil rights organization in the United States. And if we define civil rights only as what is written in the Constitution, then we're going to be missing the ball every time. Last thing, engaging. Civic training and mobilization. We got to get the kids involved. It has to start with the babies. It has to start with the young people. And if we get the young people and the babies involved, we're going to see a much different future than what we have right now. See, my generation was raised by baby boomers. My generation was raised by baby boomers, and we have forgotten that we have not arrived. We're on the journey. We're on the trail, but we have not arrived. So we have to make sure that everything that we do gives people things that they can touch. How can they interact with their government? How can we make their government better? And reminding them that they are the government. So we have the census and mapping. If I don't know where you are, if I don't know who you are, I can't put Member outreach and engagement. Expanding community partnerships and building coalitions, that's important. So that means that having a greater vision and having a greater goal, and a focused vision and a focused goal. So that now, okay, well, so-and-so doesn't like so-and-so. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? What does that have to do with making sure that our people go out and vote, that their interests are represented?
That's right.
2, increase access to services, better programs, and stronger initiatives. Things like Operation Walking Papers is an example of that. Expand our information collection, our access and sharing. The NAACP, now we're moving into the 21st century. That means that the NAACP is not just a civil rights organization. The NAACP is a data organization. If you do not have data, how can you make a decision? Right? So now we have to shift from what we were to now the place that we are so that we can be what we need to be for the people. Last thing, how connected are we to the strikes and issues of the people? Are we putting band-aids on cancer?
Yes, we are. Come on, Doc.
Yes, we are. It's true.
So, what do I mean when I say Operation Walking Papers? What are your walking papers? It's your birth certificate. It's your social security card. It's your state identification card, which is now real ID. It's your passport and your state driver's license. How can I register my people to vote when you need an ID to get registered to vote? How can I be relevant to my people if they're saying, well, the issue that I didn't have is getting a job or filling out a job application, but they don't have any of the documentation that's required to make that happen? We have an opportunity with the census to be able to work with the census and work and have some of our members that are part of the census so that we get the information that we need and we get the exposure that we need. The reason why this is so important, and it seems almost fundamental, is because these are documents that are required when you need to open up a bank account. Many of our potential members are underbanked, if not banked at all. So of course you're going to have people that are affected by payday loans, right? Because I don't have a bank, right? I have to go to a check cashing place and they take out 10 to 20% of my check because I don't have a bank account, because I don't have the necessary documentation that I need to even open up a bank account, right? Access to government services, access to domestic travel, access to international travel. Traveling internationally is a privilege, it is not a right. So we might as well go ahead and give these young people, give our potential membership everything that they need before life hits them. Everything that they need before life hits them so that they can be exposed. If they are not exposed, that hey, I could leave the country at 5 years old. I could leave the country at 10 years old, right? Why would they think about leaving the country and becoming international businessmen and international arbitrators at 20 years old? Last thing, voter registration and voting and employment. Just making sure that our organization stays relevant with everything that's needed and how we go about it. And we can do this. We have access to the resources, and we have access to the resources to make it happen. We have the people to make it happen. So that's my committee report, and I thank you. Once again, my name is Jamar Montgomery. Oh, and I'm also running for the United States Senate. Thank you.